Horrific things happening to Jews in the UK today. There has been a mass stabbing and attempted suicide bombing today on Yom Kippur at a synagogue in Crumpsall, Manchester, in the UK. An individual who witnesses say appears to be an Islamic jihadist walked into the synagogue and started stabbing Jews. He then tried to detonate a suicide bomb belt he was wearing before police in the UK shot and killed him. Incredibly, police didn't want to shoot the terrorists. Yeah, they were like against doing it. They were having second thoughts about, hey, let's see if he changes his mind or something. He almost blew himself up to the horror of onlookers who kept shouting, "Shoot! He's got a bomb! He's going to blow himself up." This is a targeted attack on Yom Kippur, and it's an act of Islamic terrorism. This is just an idea of what's headed to the US if we repeat the UK's mistakes. And I'm going to skip the video because the video is way too gruesome. There are people bleeding on the street. And there's a photo of the terrorist. The guy has a full vest strapped to him and was threatened to blow himself up. There's of course all the reactions. Of course, we have the reaction of Keir Starmer saying, "I'm appalled by the attack at the synagogue in Crumpsall. The fact that this has taken place on Yom Kippur, the holiest day in the Jewish calendar, makes it all the more horrific. My thoughts are with the loved ones of all those affected, and my thanks to the emergency services and all the first responders." And you can imagine the replies has everything that you can imagine. Tommy Robinson, you have encouraged it by rewarding jihad and recognizing that terrorist shithole as a state. You capitulated British values and surrendered to the mob. And it's like this is a stone deaf from Keir Starmer. We already know we already know that the guy is malevolent. There's no doubt about it. No, he is not an idiot. He is not stupid. He is just plain malevolent. But by this point, it's like he is really trying to trigger people on purpose. Gunther Eagleman, the blood is on your hands, Keir. You did this. You handed them a state, Muzzy lover, says Joey Manarino. Mass deportations now. I have to remind you in these comments, there's this clip that never gets old. From the UAE has repeatedly tried to warn everyone in the Western world that we are importing terrorists into the West. The Jewish people are suffering the most because of the pro-Palestine lunatics. And this is simply not unacceptable. And you see the words of Keir Starmer. And we have to go through this, well, let's say a checklist from Maccabi Lev Ari. Facts. Number one, antisemitic incidents in the UK have been at record hikes since October 7, 2023. Jewish schools, synagogues, and community centers have been targets of hate crimes, yet too little action was taken by leadership. Now, a synagogue is attacked on Yom Kippur itself, the holiest day in the Jewish calendar. This was not unforeseeable. And you remember that we were talking about that letter from Charlie Kirk to Benjamin Netanyahu. We could have doubts if the letter is legit or not, but still, the topic that, yeah, there's a lot of anti-Semitism everywhere, and according to what are the facts? The people loving Hamas or something? I've said time and time again that Hamas should be literally deleted from the map. It's something that it should be done. And you see these countries like, let's grant them let's recognize Palestine as a state. So many of them, including the UK, we have France as well. And now this happens. What do you think is what's going to happen? Seriously, what did you expect was going to happen? And the thing is, let me get this kind of sorted out. Donald Trump sits down and says, okay, we have a plan to end the war and have an actual solution to this, to end the war and for people in Gaza, for the Palestinians to actually be free and safe. And all the people who keep pushing for free Palestine are silent. It's strange how that works, right? It's really strange how that works. I noticed that those remarks were from Konstantin Kisin, who is almost always on point. I agree with him a lot on these topics, and so I'm gonna talk about that. My God, that flotilla from Greta Thunberg in another video. But right now, we continue with this. Starmer's words after the attack ring hollow without prior accountability. You cannot condemn violence at a synagogue while ignoring the climate of hate you allowed to fester. It's like we see in universities everywhere. There's this literal hate for the Jews. As a literal hate for the Jews, or to the Jews. I don't know how to say it. And I have tried to explain it in my videos time and time again, is that you have to separate the Israeli government or Netanyahu. You might not like Netanyahu. I don't like the guy. I don't trust the guy most of the time. Israel as a country and the Jews. Even Tucker Carlson, who is just, that he's been really anti-Israel as of late, he made sure, well, more than once, he has made sure to make the distinction. Although when he says the Jews, he says whatever that means. That is Tucker Carlson at the end. But at least he makes the distinction between, this three, let's say, groups, so to speak. So if you want to criticize a government, such as Charlie Kirk said that he wanted to criticize the Israeli government as he criticized the American government, as anyone can criticize any government, and we have the right to do so. Why would you bring hate against Jews as a group? I've said time and time again, that's not how it is worked. This is not how it should be. But so many governments are pushing for this, like proactively, and then they are all surprised when these acts of terror happen. What do you think that could happen, Keir Starmer? I'm looking at you. You cannot condemn violence at the synagogue while ignoring the climate of hate you allow to fester. Leadership is measured in prevention, not just in tweets of sorrow once Jews are attacked. Morals, saying my thoughts are with you is not enough. The moral obligation is to act against anti-Semitism consistently, not selectively, not only when it trends in headlines. Jewish safety should never be an afterthought. And you see that there's cartoons, these comics are on point. Yeah, you have a recognition of Palestine. What do you think is going to happen? And British Consulate General in Palestine, and then they demand reparations. Like Hamas demands reparations from this was a complete circus. I wish this was simply, politics as usual, but it is not. This is the same. I wouldn't say climate, but it is a kind of a hate climate. It's like it has been for some reason in so many instances, in so many people, especially we already see liberal, young liberals despising Jews, but we're seeing more and more young conservatives being anti-Semites. And where is this coming from? Is that trendy or something? Is that it's okay to judge people just because they are part of the group and that's it? Oh, they are to blame for such and such and such. It's just like I say time and time again, when people say, oh, but when people say they have invaded the U.S. government. Okay, let's say for a second. Let's as I tell you, let's entertain that theory for a second. Let's say that the U.S. government has been infiltrated with let's say, I'm going to focus this way. Let's say has been infiltrated with Venezuelans. All right, not Jews, but Venezuelans control U.S. government, the Hollywood, the music industry, everything. Okay. Do you think that I would be responsible for that? I, as a person, I, as a Venezuelan, is something that I would have anything to do with that, and then somebody with this anti-Venezuelan hate comes and harms me or my family or my neighbors because, well, you have this stance against Venezuelans. Now translate that to Jews. You see how stupid it is to say that, this is to blame on all the Jews. Again, I have criticized things of the Israeli government. I have criticized Bibi Netanyahu, the man, not the Jews. But most people seem to just mix this up and think that it's the same thing. So it is like, this is the campaign. It seems like an organized campaign that if we don't get rid of this, and if we don't administer, how to say that, lawlessness, punishment, the right way upon anybody, regardless of who they pray to, their skin color, their gender, everything, we will not get our world back. We're going to keep in this violence spiral. I think that nobody wants this. Literally nobody wants this. But again, I would love to know what you think about this in the comments. My name is Jesus Enrique Rosas. I'm the Bottled Language Guy. Much love and bliss.